Hey everybody, welcome to my channel, the perfect place for positivity and entertainment. So I was asked this question a while back and I wanted to do a video about it, but I just wanted to make sure that I do it in my way. But first, allow me to give you a disclaimer.
The views and perspectives in this video are mine and mine alone. If you have a different nationality than mine, then you may not have experienced the same things that I've experienced. Even if you're an American descendant of slaves from the Caribbean or from a country in Africa, we still may not share the same experiences as black people living in Poland. If you're mixed with Polish and another nationality, you definitely have a different but worthy story to tell. At the end of the day, this is my story and experience living as a black man in Poland.
I felt I had to say that before I opened up the comment section. You know it goes down in them comments. With that being said, let's get into this topic. Is Poland racist? Well, you're about to find out. I was doing some research, and on the list for monoethnic countries where the vast majority of the population belong to one ethnic group, Poland ranks number 10 in the world with 96.9% of the population being Polish. So is Poland as a country racist? No. Poland is not a racist country. There are no government policies that prevent foreigners from working or living a productive life here in Poland, as long as you're here legally. Are there people in Poland who are prejudiced towards other nationalities or have adopted racist behaviors from American or German influences toward minorities? Yes. Are those people with this adopted mentality a minority in Poland? Absolutely yes. Has the Polish government allowed racist behaviors to go unchecked? In some ways, yes. If you'll allow me, I'll give details and context based on my own experience. I came to Poland in 2005 for the first time when the diversity numbers were much lower than what they are now. Back then, people were excited to see someone different. For most, it was their first time seeing a black man in person. I was often asked if I was a basketball player, if I was a singer, or if I was a rapper. That may sound like stereotyping, but for me, I didn't take offense to it. The questions never really bothered me because two of them were true. I am a singer, and I play basketball, although not professionally. I understood that their worldview of black people was solely based on media, mainly TV shows, music, sports, and movies. It was an honor for me to be the first black person that people met, and it was important for me to leave a positive impression on everyone I met. I remember one of the first conversations I had with some of the young people in Poland. Specifically, there was one young man who lived in the community who wanted to watch our choir rehearsals. He waited until the end of the rehearsal so that he could come talk to me. And guess what he said?
Yo, what up, my n***?
I was caught completely off guard and taken aback. Then he followed with a list of all the rappers he hoped I would recognize.
Tupac, Biggie, Snoop Dogg.
I knew he could barely speak English, and these were probably some of the only words that he knew in English. He was basically repeating what he heard. So I took that time to not act offended, but to actually educate him. I smiled and let him know that I appreciated his desire to connect with me, and I explained through a translator the devastation and harm that that word has done to my people. The confusion it brings when artists who look like me freely use that word in their music, and the respect that should be given to not use that word now that he's met someone who has been negatively impacted by that word. We smiled at each other, we shook hands, and we actually became acquaintances, and he showed up every time we had choir rehearsal so I would speak and say hello. Now, everything has not been roses and rainbows for me. I've had my share of negative encounters, and so have some of my other foreign friends. My first negative experience was in Poland back in 2006. I was walking on a large, busy street in Poznan when a car passed by with 3 of its passengers and the driver hanging out of the window, making gorilla gestures and sounds and calling me the N-word. I simply turned my head and continued to walk and ignored them because that level of ignorance doesn't deserve a response greater than that. Now, my Polish friend who was walking with me was completely appalled. She was mad and confused because she couldn't understand why they would do that to me unprovoked. I told her it wasn't the first time and it probably won't be the last. And sometimes you have to choose your battles. And the way I chose to fight this battle was to completely ignore them because they clearly wanted a response from me. Being called the N-word in public happened to me a few more times. Once it happened when I was walking down the street with Dennis, and there was another time since I've been here living in Warsaw. I was in the train station walking, minding my own business, when the guy in front of me turned around and called me a effing Now that time, all bets were off. I don't know what I was going through that day, but I had it, officially. So I proceeded to go confront this man. He turned the corner. As I turned the corner, I saw him and then 2 other police officers who were on patrol. At that moment, I had to make a wise decision, remembering that I am a foreigner in Poland and choosing not to escalate this situation where I end up in jail or deported. There was another time where I didn't hear it audibly, but I could read the lips of the people who were banging on the window to try to get at me. Normally, I don't go outside when there's a football match, mainly because there are always groups of drunk men who are very provocative and will challenge everything that they see that's different, whether it's a woman, whether it's a gay person, whether it's a foreigner. And they're rowdy whether they win or lose and ready to fight. So I just stayed my behind at home. But this particular day I had a concert or a rehearsal that I was coming back home from. So I'm standing at the tram stop minding my own business when the tram going the opposite direction rolls by. As it's rolling by, these humongous bald guys who are drunk, they see me and they start beating on the window almost as if it's going to break. They're saying all of these curse words, they're saying the N-word. They want to come do some physical harm to me. Keep in mind that I'm outnumbered. Listen, I didn't stand there and wait to see if they got off the tram. Not having it. I just felt like at that moment, engaging with them would have been the dumb thing to do. So I made it home safe and nothing happened to me, thankfully. But I can't say that for some of my friends. I've heard horror stories from students who were here studying from other countries, who were walking home minding their own business and were physically jumped by other people, beat to the point to where they had to go to the hospital. Again, these examples are not on a national level. Although they happen, they are rare. However, there's one thing that still disturbs me that happens every year. Poland's Day of Independence is on November 11th, and every year there's a large march in the middle of the city. This march has included fascists and national groups who would like to push their agenda. They carry signs and shout things like Poland for Poles, pure blood, bright mind, Europe will be white or inhabited, and death to the enemies of the nation. These nationalist groups that are in this march are the minority, but they were invited to participate by the organizers. Honestly, coming from America, I'm not too alarmed by that. I'm more alarmed by the silence from those who are around them. That's what's suspect. So if you see something or you hear something that you know would be offensive to me or against me, say something and let's fight this hate together. If you don't know already, a couple of years ago, I had the great opportunity to participate in The Voice of Poland. I had a great time on the show and I actually made it to the place where I wanted to, and that was to the live shows. The feedback after my first 2 performances were fairly positive. There were only a couple of trolls on there saying some negative things. Things like The Voice of Poland should be only for people who are Polish, which is strange because the TV show doesn't originate in Poland. But it wasn't until the knockouts that I saw that my videos started to get really negative comments, and they were racially motivated. I'm not going to go through them and list what they said because this is the perfect place for positivity, but you can only imagine. I thought I was prepared for that aspect of being on the show. I mean, I had been on TV before, but it was with my group. So I guess the commentary we got was positive because the group was mainly Polish and I was the foreigner. But this time, it was a little bit different. There was nobody else to distract the audience from me. I was fine if people didn't like how I sang, or if people didn't like how I was dressed, or if people didn't like how I performed. But the comments about my complexion, about my nationality, and how I don't belong in Poland was just all too much. I will say this though, for Poland to be a mono-ethnic country where there's mainly Polish people here, they're doing a really good job with trying to have diversity and inclusivity on their TV shows. And I'm grateful to be a part of it. Even if I'm a token, I understand that position and I understand my responsibility in that position. And I will take every opportunity to encourage, inspire, and enlighten people on the Black experience. Although I've had a few negative experiences, they do not compare to the overwhelming love and support that I've received from the people of Poland. We have many similarities and so much we can learn from each other, and I'm determined to contribute to that. I appreciate you listening to my perspective. If you would like to continue the conversation, please drop down in the comments below and let me know what you think, what your experience has been, and we can chop it up. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click that notification button if you want to be notified of my future videos. Also, follow me on all social media platforms at Brian Fentress Official. Well, that's all. Enjoy your day. Peace.